Guys, I like to talk about a lot of things. I like to think about things that make me happy. I like to spend time with my boys, with my sons, with my homeboys, and with my friends. I like the fellowship. I like to be around my family. It's a lot of things that I love to do. But you know what I really love to do? I really love to talk running backs. And today we're going to do it. That's right. We're going to go. This is flawless fantasy football. When I say flawless, I mean flawless. I mean flawless. I mean pristine. Oh, flawless fantasy football's top 12 running backs. Projected top 12 running backs for 2023. Okay? Now, before we get started, this is my projected top 12 list. It will not look like the consensus buddy running back list, nor will my wide receiver list as well. It won't look the same. I've actually done research. A couple years ago when I started this platform, I did research. I went all the way back 2015, 2016. And I looked at the preseason, right before the season started, the consensus ADPs for running backs and wide receivers. I looked at them. Who did they say were the top 12 going into it? You know when you start your drafts out, you look at that ADP, okay? I looked at the top 12. Then I look at, let's say, the results from that year. There's always like a 45, on average, it's like a 45% bust rate. Well, basically, out of those 12 players that are the top 12, which means they're a running back one or wide receiver one or the QB one, whatever, that 5.5 of those players, on average, per year, don't make that top 12. Yet, people are using that list to determine how they draft in their particular draft, in their own home leagues or competitive leagues. Oh, this person says he's supposed to go as the number 4 running back. I have to pick him now because the average draft position tells me so. But if you do your research, and you don't have to do the research, I've done the research for you, okay? Now, again, I've already went back 2015, 16. It's back there in the archives, okay? But I took information from the past 2 years, scrapulated that information, and like, okay, who didn't make the top 12 that was on the consensus draft rankings list? And why didn't they make it? And then start to be like, okay, why? Okay? Now, we're going to get into it, and hopefully you get something out of it, all right? Hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from. And listen, this is no cookie cutter here. It's not about rocking with everyone else. Around here, you just got to use a sound level of common sense, okay? You can have all the analytics. Analytics are overrated. Everybody said, oh, well, based on this right here, then you put this up there, you type this and no. Albert Einstein said this and that. I don't give a rat's ass. The next thing you know, that pick busts, and then they all, don't look at me. No, but your damn analytics said he should be a freaking number 6 running back. That's what your analytics told me. Well, he got hurt. You can't foresee the injury. Shut up. Okay? Now, so you have to be able to prophesize and look forward. Analytics are overrated. Common sense. It's like these analytical guys like, oh, this and that, and they want to wow you and put the pretty numbers all on the screen and, and tickle you and you rub your little areolas and stuff. No, I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm not going to do that. Analytics are overrated, and I've said that for years. It's like, you ever seen like a great test taker? A great test taker. I mean, person can study for 30 seconds and ace a test. But they don't have the common sense a freaking ant was born with. No, ants are pretty smart. Bunnies are pretty smart. You get my point. They don't have the common sense they was freaking supposed to be born with. But we here in the flawless fantasy football community, we got plenty of common sense. Let's get into the video, and we're going to break down the past 2 years of running backs, the whys and the why nots, and we're going to get to my top 12 running backs, and I'll explain why. Okay, let's get right into it. I'm going to present you all with the 2001 running back draft rankings. Right before the season started, these are the draft rankings from a consensus of experts. I use that term loosely, very loosely, from Fantasy Pros, and they have, like 100 of experts come in and they weigh them all in and stuff like that, and they come out with these rankings. And guess what? Again, I don't care how many they have, they're all going to be pretty much the same. It doesn't matter if it's Fantasy Pros, if it's Fantasy Footballers, if it's any other platform out there. Their rankings are pretty much the same. I've went and looked through that. They might have one or possibly two different. They might have one at 11, but then the other one have it at 13 or whatever, but they're pretty much the same list, all right? But we're focusing on Fantasy Pros here because that's where we like to rock at. They got a friendly little format. But look at this. 2001, this is the consensus running back draft rankings. These are what people looked at in half-point PPR. Well, I'm dealing with half-point PPR when I'm actually making these videos and when I'm doing my analysis. So the ADP started like this for running backs. We're discussing running backs today, correct? It started with CMC, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. This is for 2021. At number 4, Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley at 8, Jonathan Taylor at 9, Najee Harris at 10, Antonio Gibson, followed by Austin Eckler at 12. Okay? Now what you're seeing is I went through and I'm showing you, see those red X's? By those running backs, those 4 running backs, that means those running backs did not finish in the top 12. Meaning if you picked CMC in 2021, you busted. If you picked Dalvin Cook, you weren't happy picking him number 2 overall because he ended up running back 15 overall. Alvin Kamara, he finished in the top 10. All of these running backs that don't have an X finished within the top 12. Like you can see Eckler down there. Eckler for 2021, he was ranked 12, but he finished number 2, right behind Jonathan Taylor. As you can see, Jonathan Taylor's number 9, but he actually finished number 1. But we're not talking about how they finished it. We just want to talk about those 4 misses. CMC, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. Why did they miss? Let's start with CMC. Everybody know back in the day, CMC was glass. He was getting overworked like a mug when he was at Carolina. He went through a string of injuries and, people felt that they had to keep the great CMC at number 1. Oh, CMC. Oh, do it to me harder and harder, CMC. And this one I was very anti-CMC, okay? Very anti. He gonna get the juice, but he was gonna lay it down. I have countless videos telling people not to pick CMC this year and years before. Don't pick him, he gonna lay down on you. And guess what? People picked him, and it cost it. He was the running back 39. He actually he didn't play that many games, actually. But he busted nicely because he had injury issues. He had an injury history, all right? We know that. Next up is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook finished running back 15. He was drafted as the second running back off the board. Dalvin, what I like to say is he had already peaked. Okay? Now, this is 2021. That doesn't mean he wasn't going to be. I just believe he had peaked already. This is going to be a more and more of a passing league, and we understand this. He ended up being running back 15. So picking him at the second running back overall was definitely a bust pick. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, shake your head like that, yes. So we're going to go down to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry finished running back 16. And mind you, Derrick Henry played like 8 games. scored like 10 touchdowns. But all of a sudden, he had his little foot injury. He missed all those games, came back for the playoffs or whatever. But he still ended up running back 16, but he finished outside of the top 4. Now, everybody was saying, oh, Derrick Henry, he's got so much time on his side, got so much tread on, so many miles, he's due to break, you know? Now, they won't say that about CMC. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't say that about him. They kept him at. But it was like, oh, I want to get off the train. I remember hearing that. I'm like, oh, you get off the Derrick Henry train, but you won't get off the CMC train. I get it. But my point is, he did have a lot of work. So it was, even though I'll be honest with you, I don't believe the injury, but, you know, that's just me. I understand sports is a business and it's entertainment. But I digress. Don't want to get into that. But we're going to say injury, right? Because he got injured. CMC, injury prone. Dalvin Cook was injury prone, but he went through the year and he just was lackluster and ended finishing that year. Okay? Played the majority of the games. He did miss a few. But running back 15, Derrick Henry missed half the season. Ended up running back 16. So that was a messed up, busted pick. Even though he helped you win games for those 7 games, before he got hurt in his eighth game. And then you have Saquon Barkley. You know, another person that had injury issues. Finished running back 32. 32. That's tough. Saquon Barkley, he actually started 13 games. Derrick Henry started 8. Dalvin Cook started 13. And CMC started 7. So injuries played a role in these, and you can see these running backs had questionable injuries based on that year. You know, CMC was injury riddled, and Derrick Henry, we were saying that the wheels were supposed to fall off, and Saquon Barkley, you know, and Dalvin Cook, they were also injury prone as well. So, and Saquon was just coming off a nice little injury and just hadn't shown to be himself. Last year was the first time that he actually played a nice, strong year and was able to show, you know, who he really was again. So that's 4 running backs in 2021 that busted. And the majority of them busted due to injury. Let's now go look at how they finished. Now let's go look at the 2021 results. Okay, let's look at the results. As we've spoken before, Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler finished 1 and 2, followed by Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, James Conner at 5, half-point PPR, Ezekiel Elliott at 6, Leonard Fournette at 7, Alvin Kamara at 8, Cordell Patterson, Mr. Cordell Patterson, number 9, Antonio Gibson 10, Nick Chubb at 11, and Aaron Jones at 12. Okay? Now, you see these green dots here? Those represent the 4 running backs that were not in OT, not in the top 12 on the consensus draft rankings for 2021. Joe Mixon had a nice banner year, had so much volume, kind of like the volume I believe he's going to have this year since Samaje Perine's gone. He was not in the top 12, ended up being running back 3. James Conner got all the work over there. It was defaulted because the other running back got hurt. He got all the work, ended up being running back 5. Leonard Fournette was toting that rock, and he ended up being running back 7 on a nice little banner year from him. And Cordell Patterson, out of nowhere, nobody else saw him. Cordell Patterson is probably ranked number 30-something, maybe even 40-something. I didn't look into that. That's irrelevant right now. But he ended up being running back 9 overall. So look, these guys weren't even consideration. James Conner, Cordell Patterson, Leonard Fournette. Maybe Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was probably the closest one. He's probably ranked, probably low teens. But you had 3 that came out of nowhere. You had 3 that came out of nowhere in 2001. Let's keep that in mind. Let's now move to 2022. Now in 2022, here you go. You see it. You see the draft rankings here. These are the running backs for half-point PPR. Jonathan Taylor, number 1. CMC, number 2. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry at 5, Joe Mixon at 6, Najee Harris at 7, DeAndre Swift at 8, Saquon Barkley at 9, Alvin Kamara at 10, 11 is Javonte Williams, and 12, Aaron Jones. We see those red X's, don't we? Oh, we see 5 of them, don't we? Oh, we see 5. Oh, it just warms my heart. Oh, I'm still getting some warm hearts. Because look, I know because I was a victim of it in my home, in my work league. And I was number 1 overall. I had Jonathan Taylor. I had Jonathan Taylor as a rookie. When I drafted him with Derrick Henry. You guys saw that video. I hope you saw that video. When I picked Derrick Henry number 2 overall when he ran for 2,000 yards. Yes, nobody else can say that. I supplied that video. Go ahead and look at it. I put the short out there. Look, man, I can't make this up. I provide receipts. People going to say, oh, you overdrafted him. But then when they see the results, they be like, oh. Listen, guys, I don't believe in the overdrafting thing too much. This is my thing. If you want a player and you're 100% sure, I mean, it's a 0% chance that they're going to not make it back to you, pick your damn player. Don't listen to what ADP or what somebody else say about you. Pick your player. I'd rather lose with my players than lose with what a gang of freaking so-called experts say. All right? So Jonathan Taylor, he busted. Najee Harris was number 7 overall running back. He ended up running back 14. By the way, Jonathan Taylor ended up running back 34. Najee Harris busted, ended up being drafted at running back 7, ended up running back 14. Mr. Swift for Detroit got drafted as the number 8 running back on average overall, and he busted, ended up running back 22. Guys, let me tell you something. These are picks that are happening in like the second round, and basically people are throwing them away. Najee Harris, because Najee Harris didn't scare nobody. He was crap for the longest time, and then he got it together a little bit, but he still was a high running back too. Najee Harris was crap last year, but people were picking him late first or all the way in the second round. That's a trash pick. But don't you pick a quarterback early. Don't you pick Mahomes or Josh Allen that's gonna score a gazillion freaking points and gonna score over 35, 40 points like a handful of times. Oh, God, no, forget that, and win your weeks. Come on. You guys look, people love throwing away their picks. Let's move on. DeAndre Swift, he busted at number 8, running back 22. Alvin Kamara, drafted at number 10 on running back overall, finished running back 18. 18. That was a busted pick. And Javonte Williams, everyone's darling. Oh, Javonte. Oh, Javonte. Oh, please just hold me tighter. Please don't ever let me go. I want to be the one to say that I rode you to the championship. You're going to ride Javonte, all right. You're going to ride him. And make sure your freaking feet and your toes are on the bed and you freaking take all of it, because sit up here and the dude is freaking hurt. I don't give a crap about preseason games. The dude is glass. You guys are going to think about it. You're going to be like, damn, all these people, Flawless said this. I'm trying to help people, but I'll be honest with you. People, we're all guilty of it, okay? I'm gonna try not to digress too much. We are easily programmed. Oh man, we're so easily programmed. And humans, we love to follow. It's instinctively we love to follow. And only a few percent of the people can lead. Most people like to follow. Well, the majority of people are doing it. I should do it. Well, they can't all be wrong. Majority of them can't be wrong. Majority of them can be wrong. And they are wrong a lot of times. A through Z, whatever have to happen to deal with. And Javonte Williams busted, and he was the running back 84. Javonte Williams, let me look at my notes here. Javonte Williams, that dude busted. He played 4 games. Glass. We knew he was glass before then. But people trusted him and picked him as they running back 2 and threw away their second round pick. It's just wild. Who else? Let's talk about Kamara. Kamara played 15 games. Let's talk about Swift. Swift missed 8 games. These sound like injuries to me, guys. Now Najee Harris played in all 17 games, but I didn't like Najee Harris. I was against him because he had that Liz Frank injury and all that type of stuff and playing around. And I was like, look, Big Ben's not there to dump the ball down to him 1,000,001 times. He's not going to have a productive season like that. RB14 and nothing spectacular. Busted pick considering people drafted him at RB7. All right? I can't make this stuff up. Here are the numbers. Now let's go to the results, the 2022 results. 2022 results. And here we go. Austin Eckler in 2022, half-point PPR, finished first. Monster season. Christian McCaffrey finished second, followed by Josh Jacobs. Derrick Henry at 4, Nick Chubb at 5, Saquon at 6, Tony Pollard at 7, Jamal Williams at 8, Aaron Jones at 9, Dalvin Cook at 10, Ramondre Stevenson at 11, and then followed by Joe Mixon. Inefficient season. That 5-touchdown game helped him out. He finishes the lowest running back one overall. But he got there, okay? He got there. Now we see those greens, don't we? We see 5 greens. Because we saw 5 X's on the last portion. So that means 5 people made it into the top 12 that wasn't supposed to. We're going to start with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had a banner year. And I was happy for him. Banner year. Came out of nowhere. They were playing games with him in the Hall of Fame game. He was out there starting, and it's like, man, I had a video that I was actually saying that he was going to benefit for for Devontae Adams coming over, man, but I didn't like how they played with him like that. I didn't like it. So, I just kind of, stayed away from it a little bit. I just chose somebody else. But he had something to prove. And the dude ran like crazy. Good for him. Running back 3 overall. Came out of nowhere. Wasn't on the top 12 at all. Next up was Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb suffers from the Derrick Henry syndrome. All these PPR nuts. And he's happy. Oh, he doesn't catch. He doesn't catch the ball. I need him to catch the ball for 1 yard and run for 5 yards and get tackled and get 1.5 yards. 1.5 points. That doesn't warrant 1.5 damn it points. These PPR nuts always trying to just generate BS freaking points for no reason. Full PPR ones. I can't stand it. Never been in a full PPR before in my life. I probably will one day. No, I probably won't. I don't like it. So, Nick Chubb finished at running back 5 last year. And he was projected, he was on the consensus he was outside of the top 12 on the draft rankings list for 2022. Tony Pollard balled out, man, explosive. Finished running back 7. Zeke showed his age, and Tony Pollard was just up there balling. Tony Pollard was balling. But he got hurt in San Francisco's playoff game. Hurt with his little knee, or his little ankle or something like that, and he had surgery. Reported it had surgery. So, but the dude's explosive. It's his backfield. Trust me, it's his backfield. I do have issues with the injury though, but he finished number 7 last year, and I'm glad just to get freaking that plotter Ezekiel Elliott out of town. Jamal Williams, touchdown after touchdown. This dude probably didn't have freaking 3 100-yard games, but he was scoring touchdowns like it ain't nobody's business. Set the record for the Detroit record, broke the Barry Sanders touchdown record for Detroit, and Jamal Williams had a nice year, capped out at number 8 running back overall. Now he's in New Orleans. We'll talk about that later. Ramondre Stevenson also ended up a running back number 11, a top 12 wide receiver, so a running back 1 overall in the top 12. And he finished running back 11. All right? 5 people came out of nowhere. So guess what? There's 5 out of 12 that weren't on the top 12 list for the consensus list for the pre-draft rankings last year. It was 4 in 2021, and it was 5 in 2022. Just missing. Having people pick Najee Harris in 2022, DeAndre Swift, Kamara, Javonte. Taylor completely busted, I know. And I ain't much mad at him because I get it. I was hesitant to pick him, but because I felt like I had him in my work league, and I had him 2 years prior. I'm a firm believer, and a lot of you guys heard me say it before, we've seen the best of them. And I don't think Jonathan Taylor will ever show us what he showed us a couple years ago. It was not going to happen. That year was a banner year. And I don't like messing around people after banner years. Look, Derrick Henry ran for 2,000. Then he quote unquote broke 8 games. That's all you got out of him. So look, be careful with the banner years. I don't rock with them. Now let's move to the next spot. Here are the current running back half point PPR draft rankings, present day, August 25th, 2023. Half point PPR. Christian McCaffrey, number 1. Austin Eckler, number 2. Robinson, number 3. Nick Chubb, number 4. Saquon Barkley, 5. Tony Pollard, 6. Derrick Henry, 7. Jacobs coming in at 8. Jonathan Taylor at 9. Ramondre Stevenson at 10. Joe Mixon at 11. And Najee Harris at 12. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. 4 of these guys, at least for sure, I'd bet, look, you don't want to know what I bet on it, that 4 of these guys will not finish in the top 12. But I'm feeling like it's going to be 5 this year. I feel it can easily be 5. But which 5? Which 4? Which 5? You know what? I'm just going to be nice. I'm going to be nice. But I'm going to take out 4 running backs. I'm going to take out 4 running backs, gentlemen. And those 4 running backs, unfortunately, for these gentlemen, are as follows. Now, before I do this, one of these guys I gave a green to. Because I do believe that this running back is kind of like, he's going to be like Derrick Henry. When Derrick Henry after he had that 2,000 year, he gave all that juice, but then he broke. Because I don't believe this running back can go a whole season, plus he's coming off injury. Let's get to the list. These 4 players, the running backs I'm taking off the list that's on everybody's top 12 running back list are Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, and Najee Harris. Number 6, Tony Pollard. Number 8, Josh Jacobs. Number 9, Jonathan Taylor. And number 12, Najee Harris. Let me tell you why. Well, like I said before, I gave Tony Pollard a green endorsement, but it's only for a limited time. Limited time offer. Josh Jacobs got a yellow from me because he's been holding out. Look, karma's a mug. He already proved himself. He ain't going to get the money that he's looking for. He going to have to sign that tender like Barkley did. They ain't paying these dudes. So he still hasn't done nothing till I heard up till before I start making this video that he hasn't signed yet. Maybe he has, but he has been out. He hasn't been performing. He hasn't been doing the thing. He's been away from the team essentially. And Zamir White has been taking the running back 1 duties. Now, look, man, at the end of the day, they already drafted Zamir White last year to take the job. Now you want to play games? Let's see if you can bully these 80-year-old white billionaires. I doubt it. You ain't doing it. So you better sign that paper like you best to sign that paper like homeboy Barkley did and get your mind right, okay? Because you want to get Deshaun Watson, keep playing around. I'm taking them off the list. I'm not playing no games with these what do you call them? What's the word I want to say? Prima donna. These prima donna NFL players, these prima donna running backs. Normally wide receivers are prima donnas, but I tell you what, I am not messing with Jacobs. I'm not touching Taylor. He's an injury risk. Listen, these guys is not putting in work with their teammate on top of already having some injuries and stuff like that with Jonathan Taylor. With his ankle, with his little feather, they probably get his ankle get put together with a freaking 2 rubber bands, man. No, I'm not touching Jonathan Taylor. Don't know you want to go? Nah, man. Nah. No, thank you. And then Najee Harris. Well, listen, we all know I don't respect Najee Harris like that, fantasy football wise. I don't know the dude personally, but I am a Jaylen Warren truther. And they just sharing the Brockmore. There's no way this dude's not going to be able to make it to number 12 or whatever he did like he did last year. Or he's actually number 12 on the pre-draft legs. But I can do 1,200 drafts and I would never pick Najee Harris. All right, so here we go. Flawless Fantasy Football's top 12 running backs for 2023. 2023. What I've done here, I've chose to agree. Ooh, it was so close. I've chose to agree with 8 of these running backs. CMC, Eckler, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Henry, Pollard. You see I put Mr. Bijan Mustard down here at 8 because I don't think he belongs up here. That's my way of punishing him, okay? And all the freaking rest of the people that freaking love him so damn much. So I'm going to put my running backs. Matter of fact, you know what? I missed somebody. Gave him a green endorsement. He's up here. Actually, he probably belongs above Pollard. So for argument's sake, let's just go ahead and do this right here. All right? I'm going to switch them 2 out. All right? Like that. All right? So CMC, Eckler, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Henry, Mixon, Pollard, and then Bijan Robinson. Now I'm going to add my 4 running backs that I believe have great shots to be a top 12 running back in 2023. Now, these running backs, you got to understand, they are not, I'm not going to say they're not high on people's list, but they got to come out of nowhere, right? They have to come out of nowhere. You know, they can't, and it has to go against the norms of the consensus. I've shown that already for 2 years that there are running backs that always come out of nowhere. Not to say that nobody knows them, but they're buried for some reason. But I'm going to unbury them, okay? I'm going to freaking unbury them. Now we're going to start number 9. We're going to give number 9 spot to no other than Mr. David Montgomery. Now, all right, hope it was okay, Montgomery. Now explain you why Montgomery. Montgomery is the lead back on a team with a very good offense that can move the ball. He is the goal line back. He will also catch passes. And he has a rookie. He has a rookie that everybody's just heads over heels about. Listen, I ain't got nothing against Gibbs. But you know, I just think the fantasy community that are content creators, they love these Detroit running backs. It don't matter if it's the Kerryon Johnsons or the Swifts or the Javed Bests of the world. Man, these little freaking scat backs, that's all they are. And they're so sensitive to the touch. David Montgomery, I'm going to have up here in the top 12 for Flawless Fantasy Football's top 12 running backs, end of the year, being able to get in there. Number 10, I'm a believer in this offense. I believe this man will catch enough passes. He's dynamic. I believe the backup that's there, either he won't get play or either not as much play. I don't see a world where this player could not sneak in easily and be a top 12 running back. That running back is going to be no other than Mr. Khalil Herbert. That offense will ascend. He is the RB1. If they want to protect Fields, they would probably not try to run him in on goal lines. And Herbert is due for a big year. You saw how he took that one pass all the way to the house. You know, but listen. Herbert, if Herbert don't do it this year, he ain't going to never do it. That's how I feel about Herbert. Herbert is explosive. Herbert can get it done. I enjoy his outlook. Plus, he's getting picked late. Oh, imagine picking this dude round 8, 9, and he popping here top 12 running back. After you just solidified your wide receivers, you got a gusto quarterback. Oh, man, it feels so good. Pulse. Now, Khalil Herbert coming in as my number 10 ranked running back far as end of the year where I project that he could actually be. Because that's what these rankings are. They're saying, hey, this is where this guy is likely to finish. All right? But I've already proven to you guys that's not the case. Number 11. Now, this is going to be someone, look, I'm using the injury. I'm actually paying attention to this because this is currently a timeshare. But I don't believe this person can stay healthy long term. I believe both running backs in the system will eat early on until said running back that's getting picked earlier. Glass is out, and this running back will be on a team with an ascending offense that was crap last year, with a coach that knows how to make sure the running backs both running backs do good, but he'll be the only one there in time because I predict an injury. Not to say I want one, but I predict an injury from this other running back to catapult this other running back, and it has a great defensive team. Number 11, coming in at number 11, and that's Samaje P. Ryan. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Samaje P. Ryan, yeah. He catch too. He good around, he great around the goal line too. You saw what he was doing over there and just mixing owners with a freaking just pass the hell out. And if he's the number one over there, gets to be the number one due to unfortunate glassing out of Javonte Williams, people are going to be trying to trade for and throw the house for P. Ryan. Now, he'll get drafted. He'll be on people's team, so he won't be on the waiver wire. But Samaje P. Ryan, number 11. And number 12. Now, this is going deep. This is putting on my hat. This is putting on my hat. My proverbial, you're the best, flawless hat. I don't like calling myself the best. Only knuckleheads do that like LeBron. I don't do that, But listen, I believe this guy, this running back, came to this other team because they saw what he did the previous year. He's not going to be rushing for 100 yards. It just don't work that way, okay? But he'll have quality touches, sweet touches around the goal line. He's going to have, I believe they're done with, at the very least, it'll be a time in the year where it might be a 60-40 or something. But they have a very good defense over there. They play in a dome during there all year. If they're ahead, this dude's going to be carrying the rock and, finishing it out, closing games, because we've seen the best of the other runner. I believe number 12 will be to sneak in because of double-digit touchdowns will be no other than Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams. He has the first 3 games to his damn self. The first 3 games to himself. What do you think he's going to do? I bet you guy can easily come out the first 3 weeks and have 3 touchdowns. If he don't score in one game, he'll probably score 2 in one and 1 in the other. I believe he'll definitely have 2 in the first 3 weeks. He's going to have it all to himself. Kamara won't be there. We've seen the best of Kamara. He's not efficient anymore. He's not dynamic. It'll never be all Kamara again. Never. Those days are gone. Okay? So even if the people trying to get slick and draft him in the 5th or 5th round or 5th or 6th round, you're going to wait on him. And then if you wait on him and he's not nothing and you passed up on other players that are there, high upside players like Cook, that can get this if they just commit to him like crazy, could. But I'd rather put other people on here. Or like Kenneth Walker that stays healthy. He could easily be up here. What's the damn coach name? I see his freaking gray hair all in a minute. Anyway, if one of his running backs could easily get on this list, not, one of his starting running backs, because he's had, Marshawn, he's had Carson that's reached in the top 12 before, if not just once. But, guys, here is Flawless Fantasy Football's top 12 running backs. How I project them to end in 2023. CMC, Eckler, Nick Chubb, Barkley, Henry, Tony Pollard, but he's likely glass out. Hopefully he doesn't. Well, Mixon, then Tony Pollard. How much like the way this look? 7, 8. All right? Look kind of ghetto. I use different numbers, but. Bijan Robinson, number 8. I'll be honest with you. I ain't want to do Bijan Robinson like that. I ain't got nothing against the guy. And plus, they run so much. So if they get him the sweet touches around the goal line, he'll get in the top 12. But be careful. Be careful. I'm trying to tell you, the majority of the time when people are all up on somebody, they're usually wrong. Montgomery at 9, Herbert at 10, Samaje P. Ryan at 11, Jamal Williams at 12. Hey, guys, thanks for checking in for another episode of Flawless Fantasy Football. I got the top 12 wide receivers coming for y'all tomorrow. I hope if you're having drafts tomorrow, I hope it's a successful draft. And just get the players you want. Don't worry about reaching. Look, you rather not get sniped, man. Get sniped hurts, especially when you got a love affair with a player and you want him on your team. Flawless Fantasy Football, where you hear what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Holla at your boy. Peace.